Hello, willkommen, bienvenue, konnichiwa. It's time for the Amish Inquisition yet again, episode 172 on Sunday the 21st of February. It's your sweet Amish Phil.
I'm Amish Ben.
And I'm Amish Matt.
The dwarf, the cripple, and the mother of madness.
And we've got a little swapcast doofer with Legit Bat tonight. We've just spoke to Joe, Ben and Jen from Legit Bat for an hour. So enjoy. We'll be back in an hour to do some housekeeping and some Rona news. Love you, bye.
My son's studio room. But we try to make work with what we can, especially on odd days.
What day do you normally record? Or does it vary?
We normally record on Sundays just because we're not doing much, usually about 7 o'clock our time. So this is new to be doing it in the middle of the day, but we switch it up. Sometimes we do it on Thursday nights. It just depends.
Yeah.
When do you guys record?
Sunday nights. Same reason. Like we've all got young kids and full-time jobs and stuff. So it's like, this is the best time of the week, really. We do the
So where do you guys get your name from?
Sorry?
The name.
Where'd you guys get your name from? The Amish Inquisition?
That's one that Ben answers.
I answer it differently every time, so I don't know the right answer. I guess there's links to Monty Python there, and there's Spanish Inquisition. No one expects the Spanish Inquisition. No one really expected us. Certainly not any of our mates up in around Preston thought that we'd ever do a podcast. And I don't know. I think that's it. And the Amish thing is just sort of, I have absolutely no idea anymore. It kind of, it's amorphous.
Kind of funny.
I think it may have been. I think it phases in and out. Come back.
Well, ours is just as weird and an even dumber story, but we've gone into that before. But so how did you, when did you start up? You're relatively new, right? I think I've heard you on Tinfoil Hat in Union of the Unwanted. So that's how I heard of you guys.
Not been on Tinfoil Hat yet. I'm still waiting for the call from Sam.
Oh, maybe it was just Union of the Unwanted I was thinking.
Yeah, we were on Union. When was that? About a month ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, but when did we start? Was it 17?
I think so. Maybe 18. Is it 3?
No, I think it was August 2017, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it'll be 4 years this August, won't it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You guys are veterans compared to us. We started last August.
How are you finding it?
Oh, it's fun. We just started to have fun, and then all the events of 2020 started, and we were like, well, we got no shortage of shit to talk about. It looks like we chose a good year to start this.
Yeah, I noticed. I was looking through episodes, and we've had some similar guests, same guests, and Terry Lovelace caught my eye because we've got Terry coming on in about a month or so. How was Terry?
Oh, he's awesome. He was a great interview. That's
so
one of the
fun.
ones that are super fun because we've read his book, at least the first one. She just finished the second one, but we've read his book, so we already knew his story, so it was a lot easier to talk to him about, different things. But he was fun. We're going to have him back on soon.
Yeah, he was super chatty and super fun, chill to have. He was awesome. He'll go on anyone's show, too. He just is super friendly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Have you guys had Grimerica on? I can't remember if I'd seen one with you guys in Grimerica. Yeah.
Yeah, like back end of last year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was a big thrill for you, Phil, wasn't it?
It was. I've been listening to them for years. I think probably since I think it might have been the first time they had Randall on. Randall Carlson. Don't know if you know him.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe when was that? Maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And basically, I saw Randall Carlson on the Joe Rogan Experience when I used to listen to that. And then I started binging. I started searching for Randall Carlson material everywhere. And that's how I came across Grimerica. I've been listening to him ever since.
That'd be one of those guests that would be a high point, to have on your podcast, someone like that?
Yeah, I'd love to have Randall on. And I mean, we've done a bit.
How you get in touch with these people?
Yeah, we've done a bit on the Younger Dryas. We had Cosmic Tusk on, didn't we?
Oh yeah, George.
George Howard, the Cosmic Tusk blog guy. But Randall's interesting for all the other stuff he does, like the sacred geometry and numerology and shit like that, and Freemasonry and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'd love to have him on.
Yeah. I just listened to one with him on I can't remember what show. I think it was Forbidden Knowledge News. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that one with Chris Matthew. He was just on there too.
Yeah, he's just done a video one with Grimerica as well. I just saw it.
Nice.
I just saw it on Instagram. I think. Oh, I'll tell you what it is. It's Grimerica are moving to Rokfin for a video.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I think the first one that they're putting on Rokfin is a Randall Carlson one. So, yeah, it's
nice.
A lot of people seem to be moving to Rokfin in our sort of area, and I've never seen it.
Like more free?
Yeah,
So-
they don't censor as much. I put in a application or whatever you call it to get on Rokfin and haven't heard back. So apparently they're not interested. But.
Right. So yeah, maybe I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I only heard about it. I guess it was probably Sam Tripoli who started first. Maybe I think he migrated over there first for some of his content.
Yep.
And people are following suit because again, it's this YouTube thing, isn't it? Do you know?
Yeah.
I was trying to find. Are you familiar with the clip of Anthony Fauci talking about back in March saying that face masks are pointless and they don't work?
Oh yeah.
I think we saw that right when it came out too.
Yeah.
Not even recently.
Yeah, I think it was maybe
That was a real thing.
a CNN 60 Minutes interview, some shit, and I needed to find it for tonight for a reason people will find out later. Couldn't find it. It's gone. Just
Wow.
YouTube taking it down.
Of course they deleted it for sure.
You got to check BitChute or Rumble or something like that. Even those are starting to go the censorship route from what I've heard. But
those people who have it are probably all banned already.
how do you guys take? I was actually going to ask not to bring up COVID again. We've talked that ad nauseum for the last 6 months, but how's it going over there? Is it real tight with the mask mandates? And do you guys listen to Fauci too? Do you take American advice on this bullshit?
No, we take our own advice on the bullshit, to be honest with you.
About the same level there.
Yeah, so it's pretty intense at the moment. So we're in lockdown 3.0 currently.
Because the first two were so
I
successful.
feel like you guys have it worse over there. I feel like here that it's way worse.
Yeah, I don't know. We've heard some pretty weird stories from California as well, in terms of things that are having to close.
Not where we are though.
Right, okay.
South.
LA.
But yeah, for us, so all non-essential shops are closed, which is, I suppose, in each lockdown has got fewer and fewer, basically. So, like currently, like clothes shops are closed. And things, and that's about it, really, isn't it? I don't know.
Schools?
And pubs and hospitality, hotels, things like that are closed.
Oh wow.
Schools is a big one.
Oh, sorry, schools. Yeah, obviously. I forgot about that.
What about, are they going out of business? Does your government have something to help them keep afloat?
Yeah,
or?
so there's the furlough scheme, it's called. So we're up to, is it 800 billion, I think? They're kind of estimating it's going to be. They've just extended furlough to the summer. But a lot of people are still being laid off. Currently, so unemployment, has gone sort of to like the highest rate for years kind of thing.
How the furlough scheme works is, say you work for a restaurant, say you work for a restaurant chain and you're a manager for this restaurant chain. The owner of the company or the company can apply to the government for this furlough scheme. And how this works is all your staff get sent home and get paid 80% of their wages by the state. So you get paid 80% of your wages to sit at home. And then we wonder why people don't want to come out of lockdown.
Yeah.
But the other thing as well is that when I think the furlough scheme does end, or if it ends, then a lot of people are going to be made redundant, basically. I'm going to lose the jobs. So it's just extending this period. It's a bit weird.
Prolonging the agony.
Yeah, basically.
And we're hearing reports of companies using this furlough scheme to offshore jobs to India and China, or just find other ways around, of reducing staff numbers. So, yeah, they're just putting off the inevitable, it seems, with the unemployment with this furlough scheme. And we're just
how's your
printing money.
Economic market over there? Is it tanking as bad as ours is? Because ours is just about to circle the toilet,
Yeah, I think.
And they're doing a similar thing with us, where they're going to pay people one lump sum every month per person in the household. And it sounds great, but where's the incentive to go get a job?
People are already lazy enough, and now they're doing this.
Yeah.
I mean, some people are worried that this is going to be sort of a soft transition into universal basic income.
Kind of
that's what
already
it seems like. Where people are going to start relying on, $3,000 a month or whatever. And that's
Andrew Yang's wish came true.
And a lot of people I speak to about UBI, they seem to think it's a great idea, and I just can't get it through the head that being dependent on the state is not good for you. It's supposed to be the other way around. They're supposed to be dependent on you, the voter, to keep them in office. You should never be dependent on a politician. But it's so tempting, isn't it? Free money.
Yeah, sort of. But where's the drive to go make new things and do better things and bigger things? It's like kind of dumbing people down to
we're not talking
sit around and take the money from the government.
People like us that are obviously talking about this shit. We're talking about your average.
I'm talking about most people in the world.
Walmart shopper that goes in their sweatpants to get their soda.
That's most people.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's sad.
They would love to just sit at home and feed off the tit of the government. And it sounds great. Don't get me wrong. I'm lazy from time to time, but
I think that's
not
normal
to that
human behavior.
extent.
I mean, we've had quite generous policies brought in over the last 20 years. I'm thinking sort of like, is it the child tax credits?
Mm.
So it's a system where, how does it work, Matt? Is it single parents or something? Single mothers?
I can't remember. But basically, I used to work in a tax credit office years ago. But it's something like, if you work 16 hours a week, and I think that might have gone up to like 20 hours or something now, then you get X amount of tax rebates. So say like 40%, you'd only pay. So normally you pay 20% tax, you'd only pay 10% or something like that. It is. I couldn't tell you the exact figures of it.
The problem is that it's the government subsidising low wages.
Yeah.
Because you're getting a big chunk from the government. If you have a low-level job, there's no incentive for your employer to pay you a living wage because the government's topping your wage up for you. And we have that
too in America, the earned income credit and the child tax credit are credits that we get. When I was a waitress in school and I had my daughter and I was a single mom, I would get like $5,000 back every year because I was poor, basically. Not that didn't make me sit around and not want to do better, but I can see where people would want to stay where they were.
That's not really a welfare or subsidization as much as it's giving you your money back that you fucking paid to them all year, with interest subtracted.
I feel like I didn't really pay that much because I wasn't making that much, but I got a shitload back, more than I feel like I deserved, I guess.
Where do you
need? Definitely, that's definitely true. Here in America, I mean, that's where everybody talks about the differences in increases for the upper margin and the lower margin. Is like, I know for a fact that there are times where when I was younger, the amount that I put in, I got back way more than what I put in. And that's where it evens out the amount of people that are making a shitload and putting in a shitload and not seeing any of that back or having to pay. Like, that's definitely true. There are times where you'll get back, depending on if you're super low income, way more than what it is that you paid into taxes, for sure.
Oh yeah. Do you guys have that same kind of problem over there where corporations don't really have to pay a whole lot of tax, or they find every loophole imaginable where they pay little to no tax? I don't know what the rules are over there.
Yeah. So like Amazon for Europe, I think, is it not based in Luxembourg?
Oh, it's Ireland.
Yeah.
Or eBay's Ireland. eBay's based in Ireland.
Right, yeah. So Ireland quite often does sweetheart deals, doesn't it, for these huge corporations? So they pay like next to no tax, basically. So like I think Amazon, for example, does, X amount of billions worth of trade through the UK and pays like £1 or £2 million worth of tax on it or something stupid.
Pocket change.
I remember there was one year, I said it on the podcast, so it must have been in the last few years. There was one year where Facebook paid less tax than me. I think it was.
Wow.
I think it was 16. I think it was I think it was 1,600 quid or something they paid for a year in corporation tax.
Insane, isn't it?
Yeah, it's goes on everywhere, doesn't it?
It's unbelievable. Do you guys see any end in sight? You said the lockdown 3.0, but do you actually, like, in your opinion, do you see anything going back to normal in the next year?
Yeah, there's some sunlit uplands, and they're talking about relaxing by Easter. Maybe there's supposed to be an announcement tomorrow. I think
they said that last year too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it'll be done by Easter. Yeah,
the sunlit what?
Sunlit uplands, isn't that what Boris called the post-Brexit thing that was going to happen?
The sunlit uplands, is that the vaccine passports and the no jab, no pay, and boosters every 6 months.
There's plumbing companies. I think that's in Ireland, isn't it?
No.
They are. Is it over here in
London?
In the UK?
Pimlico,
London, right? Okay. Oh, Pimlico, yeah, of course. There's a plumbers company that have just basically said that if their employees don't have the vaccine, then they basically aren't employed anymore.
Wow,
that's so scary.
That was going to be my next question. Actually,
why would you make someone take something so untested and force them to? Hey, I think it's fine. Just take it, or else you have no job. What?
That was going to be my next question.
Swear on your thing? Like, sorry, I keep swearing. I don't mean to.
As if you guys thought it was going to be like mandatory for everybody, because I know over here I don't think they're going to make it mandatory, but it's going to be a social pressure thing. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, you don't have to get it. No, it's totally your choice. But if you want to do X, Y, and Z,
anything
you
at
got to
all.
get it, which makes sense. It makes way more sense than them coming door to door and jabbing you in the arm. I don't think that's going to happen. It might. Who knows?
They can't make it mandatory. Even if they wanted to, they couldn't do, I don't think, under common law. But what they will, I mean, it looks like, as far as foreign travel goes, that looks pretty certain for anyone coming in or out of the UK. I can see it coming for large events, cricket matches, concerts, that sort of thing. There's Dominic Raab, who's the he's not defence secretary.
I think he used to be, didn't he?
Used to be, but he was intimating this week, talking about maybe doing it for bars, restaurants, vaccine passporting. They'll push it.
So it just leaves people at home. If you want to socialize, you have to have the vaccine.
They'll push it as far as people will take. If they can get away with it, they will. And they've got to drag this out as long as they can. The vaccine companies can't make any money till July. It's in the contracts. So the AstraZeneca vaccine, for example, Italy, funnily enough, they just published the entire contract today, I think, or yesterday, and it's caused a bit of an uproar in the EU because they published the unredacted contract, and in there it says that they can't make a profit until July this year. So they've got to stretch this out for the next few years, to make the money.
Well, they've been stringing us along long enough where they're making people crave going to concerts and going to the bar and just being back to normal, to the point where they're like, if you get this vaccine, everything goes back to normal. Oh, except Fauci saying you still got to wear your mask if you get the vaccine. Maybe 2 or 3. Maybe get your butt, checked for the COVID before you go anywhere. It's going to get to the point where anywhere you go, they're going to be sticking something up your butt or in your mouth or in your arm.
Like idiocracy.
Yeah,
this one goes in your mouth.
How do you think it'll work in the States? Do you think each state will have its own rules and they'll be enforced? So you'll end up with Florida, at one extreme and California at the other, sort of thing?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is it's definitely going to be more state by state, because Florida is basically normal right now. We had a friend that comes on the show every once in a while that took a 1-week vacation down there, and he said it was like nothing ever happened. He said there's some places that are like, you can wear a mask if you want, but other than that, everyone was walking around doing normal life. And then you get over here. We're not as bad up here in the north area, kind of in the woods. Down in LA, it's awful. I guess everywhere you go,
And
they're
San
just
Francisco.
hounding you about it. Yeah, San Francisco too. But up here, everyone's a lot more relaxed. But there are places like Costco that you walk in and they'll basically accost you or tell you to leave.
They told our friend or my sister-in-law that she was going to get her membership revoked if she didn't pull her mask up. She had it like down a little bit, and the guy came over, touched her. He grabbed her by the shoulder, and then she was like, "What the fuck?" And then he's like, "Put your mask on." And she's like, "You just okay." And he said, "We'll kick you out. We'll escort you out. We'll take your membership if you don't pull your mask up."
Which is, I mean, that's a private company.
She
They can
doesn't
do
have
what
to
they
give her
want.
name.
But
I mean, it's not like she would have to. I mean, I don't know. They'd have to take her picture and prove it, I guess. But he threatened her membership because she wouldn't pull her mask up. I think it will go county by county, though, because this state, sure, California in general is insane right now. But what you hear is not where we live. It's like 2 hours south of the Oregon border. It's very redneck, very hillbilly, very, very country. Everyone has a gun and is like, freedom, woo, America. So I can't imagine that this county would stand for that. If this state was like, this is our mandatory vaccines for this, this, and this, I think the bars in our area specifically would revolt against that. I think they would say, nope, we don't care about that. So then the states would divide.
how do you think it goes over there? I don't know how you're divided, but do you have provinces? Is that how it works? Do you think it's going to...
If you can imagine, like, the federal government's restricted over there, isn't it? It can't enforce things like mask rules in different states.
That's what they tell us, yeah.
So they say, yeah. But over here, we don't have that protection. So if Boris Johnson wakes up tomorrow and says you've got to crawl around on your belly in the supermarket, he can make that law without any parliamentary scrutiny. As long as he has enough MPs to support him, that's fine.
Wow.
So you've nowhere to go. You've nowhere to go, basically.
So scary.
So is Boris Johnson the main dude in charge? I thought you guys had the monarchy thing going on, but everybody keeps dogging on this Boris Johnson guy, which he looks like a penis. I get it, but I don't know what's going on behind the scenes with that.
It's just the royal family or the Queen is the head of state, but she has no power. So all of her power has been removed, basically. She just okays things, like a ceremonial head of state, essentially.
Yeah, she has barely any more power in the UK than she does in Canada.
Mm.
It's like a show thing. It's just a show.
Yeah, it's for tourism. The only reason they're still here is for tourism. The
presidency is here. It's all a show.
Yeah.
I think it is just a show, really, isn't it? I think they always say that basically the royal family brings more revenue into the country through tourism, and that's always the argument for not having an elected head of state, essentially, that we'd lose loads of money.
Tourism or child trafficking, whichever one you want to call it.
Basically.
Either way, that's super sad. If I felt like I was Queen of England and my only power was tourism.
No, her other power is whenever
That's
people
the
walk
worst.
by, they have to like bow or do something.
Yeah, but that's like tourism and also like a show.
It's like
So
Disneyland.
fake. Aw.
I think technically she can still kill people, so you could still get hung, drawn, and quartered.
No
for treason.
way.
Technically, yeah. There's old rules.
All right,
on
that
the
would make me
statute.
feel a little better.
Well, she can knight people too, and do the sword thing to knight people. That's cool.
Yeah, we still do that. Every
She has all the movie powers, but not any real ones.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, every January, the government announce an honours list. And this is the list of their mates and cronies who are going to get made into a Sir, Knight of the Realm, or an OBE or CBE. And so she does. She
But what
knights
does that
people.
actually do?
It's
What do
cachet.
you get to do after that?
It's just cachet, isn't it?
Yeah, so you can probably charge like twice as much for your speeches, basically. That's it. Really.
Ooh.
Oh, weird. It's money
And you get to
based.
demand that people call you Sir.
Yeah.
You get a horse and a suit of armor.
Do you?
I
would
so.
like to add it.
Can women be knighted? Is that allowed?
Yeah,
Well, no,
madam.
you can be dames.
You
Yeah.
get your damehood.
You be lady,
Dames, that's so
lady Jane.
fascinating.
Yeah.
Lady.
See, I would be down to get knighted if I was guaranteed like one joust per year to the death. because I would take that up. I'd be like, yes, call me Sir Joe, and I will joust you.
Well, you'd shit your pants if the hound turned up, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
I'd probably shit my pants and call it off anyway. Be like, I don't even know how to ride a horse. I can't joust. I'm sorry. Take back my knighthood.
You've got one of the royals now, haven't you, in California? Do you know Prince Harry lives there now?
Yeah, the Queen just stripped them of all their powers. That's in the news everywhere.
Oh, is it? Right, okay. I was just wondering if you'd even noticed that he'd moved there.
I didn't, actually.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle?
Yeah.
The Queen stripped them of their royal powers, and then
that would be the same as to me. It's the same as saying Kim Kardashian moved to Nebraska. I'd be like, okay,
who cares?
Whatever.
Yeah, it's a little bit like that.
They've started a podcast, apparently.
Yeah,
Harry and Meghan.
Oh,
Prince
wow.
Harry and Meghan Markle?
Yeah, it sounds fucking tragic.
Yeah.
You know what's hilarious is that
real.
show is probably going to hit the top 10 in a week and have like 6 million downloads on their first episode.
Yep.
And awesome podcasts like ours are like, where's all the listeners?
No, where?
Yeah, it'll have 6 million listeners the first week and then 6 listeners then the week after, I think. Because it sounds fucking
After they
terrible.
actually hear them talk.
Oh, it's just vapid. I can't be doing with it. It's like they've sort of migrated into like reality TV stars or something, haven't they?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what it always reminded me of when they have the royal wedding. There were so many Americans that tuned in to the royal wedding, and I'm like, why? They're all the way over there, first of all. We kind of like said fuck you during the Revolutionary War. Why are you caring about the monarchs? No offense, of course.
None taken. Are we Republicans or what? Us three.
Me, no, I'm a hardcore royalist.
Hardcore royalist? Why?
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, I like The Crown.
The TV show.
show.
Fuck me.
You mean? I think on balance, I think we should have an elected head of state and get rid of the House of Lords. Have you heard of the House of Lords?
No, is that dukes and stuff?
Well, basically, yeah. So there's landed gentry in there as well, isn't there? As well as sort of like
peers,
governments and named peers who become lords. So what happens is, you two might be able to correct me on this, but so say there's a piece of legislation, it goes to the House of Commons, which has all the MPs in, which are sort of represent each area of the country. And then that again gets past the House of Lords for scrutiny, and they can veto stuff and send it back. And if they don't agree with it, and then it can get made into law and stuff. So they have
so kind of like a Congress.
That's
or Senate
super similar to us, House of Representatives and Senate.
But it's English, so it's
similar.
the House of Lords.
Yeah, but it's unelected. That's the thing. That's the issue with the House of Lords.
If you imagine the Senate was made up of unelected gentry.
Yeah, so basically, it is literally a throwback to the Magna Carta, wasn't it? Sort of when was that? Year 1000, 1100, something like that, 1200.
13 something, I thought it was, but I'm probably
there you go,
wrong.
13 something. Yeah.
Either way, a long fucking time.
Plus or minus 600 years.
Yeah, basically. And so the Lords would took a little bit of the power away from the king, basically. So they would have oversight and scrutiny and could agree and not agree with certain things. To do with tax, mainly, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, funding wars.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole reason we have tax. That's how it all started. It was mainly was it the Napoleonic Wars that mainly saw the spike in taxes? I think it was. I think it was funding the Battle of Trafalgar and Waterloo when government started introducing income taxes. Before that, you just kept your money.
I thought the Bank of England
I think
was
that's pretty similar to America. I mean,
according to our Constitution, income tax isn't legal, really. But that's why they have a private company do it for them, so that it kind of is legal.
And I don't think any of our
government.
elections are real. So I'm pretty sure that our Senate and House of Representatives is all lords as well. The House of Lords. Like, they're just the people they usher in and pretend that we voted for them.
They've all been there for fucking 50 years, so they might as well be unelected, especially after this whole last election cycle. No matter what you think of the fraud or, no evidence of fraud, whatever, there's some wonky shit going on. I don't care what people say. Something went weird, and I don't really care because I think Trump would be just as much of a puppet as Biden, maybe a little bit more rogue, but still.
I think that's why he's not president now, because they're like, nope, you didn't play the role. Bye-bye. Well, now we need someone new.
We've talked about this before, and I think I've said, I think if you get to a certain level, you're going to be compromised to some extent. Like, you get to billionaire status and the president, there's something going on. He's not just a saint walking in there fucking up the system, because he didn't really fuck it up that much. There were some cool things he did, and he was entertaining as shit. And now we have Biden in there, who's just a wrinkly bump on a log of a ball sack, sitting behind there signing executive order after executive order.
He's like, I don't know what I'm signing.
And it's just as much theater as the Queen.
I think it's
he doesn't know
similar.
Biden doesn't know any more what's going on than the Queen does. They're about at the same, cognitive level.
Oh, I don't want to insult your queen. Is that an insult?
Not
I don't know the cultural appropriations.
It's only an insult to the staunch Republicanist in the corner.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I'll let it slide.
Do you think it's possible for like an ordinary Joe, just with, a good idea and some principles, to get into high office in the States?
No, absolutely not.
So I would love to think that sounds awesome, but I think they will be either killed or compromised.
They don't
before
even have
they
to
get
take
there.
it
It
to the
sucks.
level of killing them, though. You have to have a certain amount of money to even campaign or get your name out there. Like, if I, no name, went out to run for president, I don't have a chance because I don't have the funds to get my name out.
You can be resourceful and do it, but I think they will find a way to kill you. I do.
I mean, they didn't even have to kill Bernie. Look at Bernie Sanders. All they had to do is fuck him over in the primaries, and he was out.
All they had to do was make memes of him with mittens.
Yeah, he became a meme. That's what I would become, a meme.
What about
arguably greater than president of the United States, becoming a meme? I think that's
probably more
you're
popular.
Immortal, right?
I think President Trump's immortal because of his stupid fucking tweets. They were so dumb, but super entertaining.
So entertaining.
I was sad when Twitter banned him. I was like, damn, they were funny to read. I mean, it's sad that your president is like hilarious to listen to. It's kind of sad, but whatever.
That's America.
It is what it is.
Yeah, you've kind of gone from one extreme to the other, really, haven't you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. For
kind
sure.
of the story of our country.
Well, sort of. I mean, I feel like the last year that Trump was president, everyone was bashing him, bashing, and then promoting things like Black Lives Matter, wearing masks, Anthony Fauci, and now Biden's in office. And they're like, yay, everything's fine. And Fauci's still talking, and Black Lives Matter is still really great. And meanwhile, it's still the same shit. It's exactly the same.
Our lives haven't changed at all.
Except for that COVID cases are declining. Shockingly. Biden's in office and COVID's declining. Weird.
What do you put that?
They would never.
What do you put that down to, Jen? What do you think's going on? Why do you think the that synchronicity has happened with the COVID cases going down?
Because I think they wanted to demonize Trump. So we're not Trump supporters at all. Like, I think he's an idiot, entertaining at best, but good businessman or whatever. But I think that they just wanted someone to be a scapegoat. So they had to make COVID horrible when he was president. And he was also like, masks are dumb. This is dumb. Why are we doing this? So they demonized that, made it the worst thing for him to say. And then Biden was like, oh, that's crazy. We're going to unite everybody. So he's in office and now he's going to save the day and COVID's going to go away because he's in office now. I just think they need someone to be the demon, like the devil and the angel, and they need someone to hate and someone to love. And they're going to make it Biden, yay, he made COVID go away.
Well, as far as the cases go, right after the inauguration, the WHO were like, oh, the PCR test is actually kind of faulty. We need to lower the cycles the cycles we run this at. And they cut it in half or something. I don't know the exact numbers again, but they cut the cycles down, which is what every conspiracy podcast has been talking about for the last year is how fucked the PCR test is and how they're running too many cycles on it. You run it enough times, you'll find whatever you want in there. So now as soon as Biden gets in, they're like, oh, you know what? This whole year we've been doing this wrong. We should lower it. And then the COVID cases
did not say that. I guarantee that someone made Biden say that.
No, Biden didn't say that. The WHO did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we saw this bulletin last month, and they introduced new guidance, didn't they, for confirming cases about having to the person has to display positive symptoms and X, Y, and Z, and new guidance and protocols for the labs carrying out the tests. And it's like, yeah, they've got this is the message, this is the signal. Let's get the cases down now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And meanwhile, 6 months ago, they were like, you could have no symptoms and still be a carrier. That's never been a thing. I'm sorry. Never. I've never been like, oh, you know what? I think I got sick from my friend who had no symptoms, but she must have had the flu. That's how I got it. That's insane.
Or you call into work because you're like, you know what? I have no symptoms, but I think I'm sick. I think I got COVID, actually. I'm going to stay home today. That's
there was an article, I think it was last week, and we didn't talk about it. It was on the schedule, but we just didn't get round to it. And there was an article, I think it was a paper in the Lancet, and it was the one that came out, I think, in February last year, which started all this asymptomatic transmission talk, and it was based on I think it was 4 Germans who'd been at a business meeting with a Chinese person from Wuhan, and the meeting ended, she went home and she tested positive for COVID, and so did I think 1 or 2 of these German people. And the people who did the study for the Lancet, who said, oh, we've got asymptomatic transmission, they neglected to actually speak to the Chinese woman and ask her if she had symptoms. And this came out last week, that it turns out, yeah, I did have symptoms.
Wow.
And this is 12 months later.
The super spreader. They keep saying that too, the super spreaders who go around and have no symptoms, but they're killing people.
No, basically a super spreader is any Trump rally or anything that isn't a Democratic
or a family
area.
Gathering. It could be anything.
Yeah, if you have more than 10 people at your Thanksgiving, shit.
Do you guys have crazy commercials there for COVID and mask wearing and things like that? I just saw when I walked into the commercials. I didn't mean to, but it showed up, and it was a person laying in a bed. You couldn't see their face, and they had wires all hooked up, and it was like the heart monitor beeping, and it said across in letters, it said, "This could be your mother," and then the mother changed to, "or your friend, or your neighbor." And
basically,
then it was,
do you have propaganda
and it just said,
over there?
"Wear a mask." It was about wearing masks, and it was a person dying, and it was like, "This could be your family." That's so fucked up. Stop fucking with people. It makes me so angry. I want to.
No, Jen, what's fucked up is the idea that they're not really scaring me. I don't know how many family members or friends I have that I'm like, yeah, maybe they would get COVID. I could give a shit less.
All right.
They could get hit by a fucking bus tomorrow too. I'm not going to worry about that.
Maybe that could be my mother on there. All right, whatever.
It's your mom.
What's the?
I mean, rest in peace.
What's like the equivalent that we've had over here to that?
We've got those adverts where they say, look him in the eye and tell him you've been wearing your mask. And
it's a close.
It's like,
my God.
Yeah.
Way worse. Oh my God.
Tell him you've been doing everything you can to social distance, and you've only been going out for your mandated 1 hour exercise.
Wear your badge.
It's a close up
until you get fucked.
It's a close up of someone's face, and you can see like the nose, not cannula, what do they call it? The nose oxygen thing going in, and they're obviously all grey. They're all grey and about to die, and then it says, "Look in his eyes and tell him why you didn't wear a mask."
Oh my God!
Wow.
Well, I can't fix him, and I will.
That's unreal.
You better, doctor.
The thing is we're like a year into it now, and the adverts have only just started.
Oh yeah.
So, I just find it a bit baffling, really.
No,
they would start doing that now.
We've been getting it online though since the start. The old what's the three phrase slogan?
Oh right, yeah.
Stay at home, protect the NHS, save lives.
Yeah, so
stay alert. And then did you not remember it changed in the summer to stay alert? something rubbish.
It was awful.
Stay alert to what? Stay alert.
It could be anywhere.
News. Watch the news.
Yeah.
Watch the news.
We had a brief 2-week period, didn't we? 1 or 2 weeks where there was no lockdown where we live in Lancashire. It was a bit bizarre, wasn't it? There was
still like social distancing and stuff.
Was there? I can't.
No, we went to the pub, didn't we, Phil? And it was a bit weird.
Yeah, you had to sit outside, didn't you?
Some people are like, "Can I hang out? Am I supposed to be here?" It's like all awkward.
It is because it's been normalised.
We normally do the podcast together. Would record together, but you can get fined £10,000. They're handing out 10,000.
Is that why you guys are separate right now?
Yeah.
You're like literally not allowed to hang out with other people.
It's against the law.
Over a year now.
Whoa. I feel like we should have led with that. It's 45 minutes, and I had no fucking clue why you guys were separated, but
I just figured
it's literally illegal for you guys to do otherwise.
Like me and Ben.
Okay.
Ben is literally 10 minutes down the road, but he's babysitting. Normally he would be with us.
Yeah, we have people over all the time, and we still do that. Where we live in California, we're allowed to. There were certain places in Southern California that got their power shut off by the power company because they had a party.
That story, yeah.
That's so weird. But that's real. That's like all over the state. Yeah. I think they stopped doing that because the governor almost got ousted by the entire state. But where we live, that would never happen.
He's still on the way out. You know Gavin Newsom? Do you know that name?
Yeah.
Yeah, the French Laundry.
We're trying to boot him the fuck out of here. And apparently, I think they have most of the signatures needed to recall him. Who knows if that's going to happen? Don't think it really matters.
I don't think we control anything at all.
We'll probably have Nancy Pelosi as our governor next.
What happens in the recall?
I'll be right back.
It's all right. If say he is recalled, would it be like a general election, like a Republican Democrat election, or would someone select another Democrat to fill his place, or what? Do you know how it would work? What the mechanics would be?
I actually have no idea how the state elections work here, but Joe's not here, but I do not think any of the election stuff is real. I think they just they make it as real as possible. They make you feel empowered. I don't think it's as controlling. They want to keep some sort of normal, but I think they would put whoever they want in, whether they had an election or not. I think it would be someone who they knew would play ball and make, the things happen that they wanted to happen.
Yeah. So it's like political theater, in other words.
It is. It's similar to what you guys were talking about with the Queen. And I'm not bashing the Queen. We literally have no idea how the government works over there. But I think the president is totally a puppet, too. I just don't think that they can do as much as they think they can. And if they could, they would be killed and replaced in whatever way, whether it was natural causes or an assassination, whatever. I'm making myself sound more conspiratorial than I really am. But I just, in all fairness, I just have never seen a president really make any changes like you see in the movies or like you see in shows. It's just kind of all the same, or they die. So, I mean, there's never really any change.
Who do you think it's run by advisors then? Because there's a lot of advisors over on our side of the pond as well, isn't there?
So, okay, I'm kind of weird. I think there's a way higher up thing going on beyond humans. I think it's different. I think there's something that we're not seeing, whether it's another realm. I'm not saying it's aliens necessarily, another dimension or higher beings. I think it's something completely different, or if we're in a simulation, not to try to get super weird after we're just talking about grounded politics, but I think there's something significantly beyond our control that we couldn't possibly know right now.
I don't think it's we'd never know, would we? So there's, it's as plausible as anything else. You don't.
We could. I think it would drastically change the way the entire world works if we ever found out. But I think there's something very different controlling all of that.
Well, let's hope we never find out.
The way I tend to gravitate more towards money and corruption being the sort of the oil that's making the wheels grind. I think there's a lot of cronyism. I'm sure it's just as bad over there as it is here. And that it's the money that's
funny.
taught.
We've talked about that too, about like the basis of all this evil shit. And I don't know about money anymore. I used to think anything you can follow the money trail and it'll lead you to the culprit. They print so much money now that I don't think the people that are in charge of that actually need more money anymore. They have more money they could spend in their entire life.
Yeah, it's more power, I think. Just
it's power too,
control.
They kind of have all the power too. We talked about this. You know who Charlie Robinson is? I think we've had him and Monica from the Prop Report about this. They kind of went to an esoteric level. They're like, "What's above this?" Because money, power, they have all that. What's going on above that? And
that's what I think. That's what I was just kind of saying.
Yeah,
there's something else.
Battle of the soul or battle of the human mind, or then you bring in aliens, and this is how we go down rabbit trails.
Yeah.
But it's odd. I mean, what?
You're being sorry. I was like, sorry not to be weird.
What drives that ambition once you've reached the top? There must be something. Otherwise, you just stop doing anything. And
right.
There's got to be something that pushes you on.
I mean, I think it's probably like the preservation of your family. They're like, here, you can see behind this veil. Now, if you want your family and loved ones to live, you just do all this stuff and we'll let you survive.
I think there's a lot of that.
I think once you get to that top point, they're like looking back at you and it's like, oh shit, sorry, didn't mean to get here, my bad. And it's too late at that point.
Well, a lot of people have that thought about JFK, don't they? And that he tried to unravel the military-industrial complex, and they put a stop to him, quick, sharp.
Yep.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know a lot about that. We had
a show on to do an in-depth JFK analysis, and we did an hour of awesome shit. And then I looked at my thing, and I'm like, oh, I'm not recording. That sucks.
So we have this whole episode about JFK and all these conspiracies that's non-existent.
We'll have him back on, but what happened is we just ended up continuing talking for an hour anyway, and we're like, okay, we'll come back to JFK at a later date, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you guys know a lot about that story? Because I really don't. I know the basic narrative, but I don't know all the stuff he was talking about. Yeah.
I was in a taxi in Dallas last year, and the taxi driver was convinced that she was the love child of Jack Ruby. I think was the story, but that was an hour journey, just talking and talking and talking. I managed to record a little bit on my phone. Yeah. No, I wanted this to go on, just carry on. I was asking her questions, trying to push more information out of her. Yeah, she was crazy.
You know, there's a demographic of people that call us crazy.
Well, that sounds batshit insane.
Yeah. Sorry. No, that's another level.
Yeah.
Where
did Ben go, by the way? I
have no idea. He just disconnected.
Okay. Well, he probably had kids. I told him I didn't want kids interrupting this time because that happened last time. So thank you, Ben.
Aw.
Oh, dear.
Well, what else is new over there, though? You guys got any other crazy conspiracy hairs up your butts at the moment?
No.
You went down a UFO rabbit hole, didn't you, Matt?
Yeah, but I mean that just led me to American ones, the Tic Tac incident, and the other one, the spinning top. But then that sort of went out into other things as well.
Time slips and stuff.
Oh, time slips, and I can't remember the name. What was the name of the guy that I messaged, and he said he was too busy. And he was like the head of. He was the person who did the report on. Was he called Neil?
This guy is. He worked for MI6, didn't he?
Yeah, and he did the report. He basically did a report on all of the classified UFO sightings, and one of the major ones is something to do with a forest in the UK.
Rendlesham or
something like that. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
So he's done a report on it.
Nick Pope, isn't it?
That's his name. Yeah, Nick Pope.
Oh yeah. Totally.
He was the minister
of. Busy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
he was too busy for the
some official capacity
about UFOs and stuff. So.
Yeah, no, he was hired by the government basically to do official report on UFOs. But he was too busy for the Amish Inquisition, unfortunately.
I've been sort of too consumed.
He doesn't rule it out in the future, is what he said.
Yeah. I'm too consumed with all the COVID stuff, really, to to sort of be looking at other conspiracy theories at the moment. There's so much going on with this COVID situation that's taking up most of my time. But, we had the. Have you heard of the Odd Man Out?
Yeah. I follow them on the Instagram. I haven't listened to them yet, but I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Well, we've had him on a couple of times, and I was just going to say his podcast is great for conspiracy theories and occult deconstruction and stuff. And he's a good guy. Awesome. He'd be good for you. You should message him, get him on.
Yeah.
What podcast is it?
The Odd Man Out.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's just so much craziness going on. I don't know. I know.
It's too much to handle. Like I used to be way more into like listening to UFO stories and alien cryptids, anything like that, anything besides real life, as far as we know. But now the UFO things kind of bum me out because of the government coming out. Did you hear about our new COVID stimulus bill? Has a 180-day countdown to disclosure of whatever documents they have, which I don't believe for shit. Anyway, anytime they release so-called confidential reports, it's heavily redacted. You get black bars through everything except for the words the, a, and, no names, no actual information. So I don't really care what the government puts out as far as UFOs, because we've been listening to stories about that for years, and I consider that semi-evidence, not official evidence, but there's definitely more going on than they're ever going to let us know anyway.
Have you guys read Terry Lovelace's new book? You guys said you knew who he was?
No.
Not read it, no. But he's coming on, isn't he, in a few weeks' time? I can't remember exactly when.
Yeah, he's booked in next month, I think.
So the second half of his book is like 25 stories of people who emailed him stories that were similar. Like it's all anecdotal stories, and it's super interesting. And then his first half, did you guys read his first book?
Nope.
At all? It's insane. You should read it. But the first half of his book kind of summarizes it, but then gives more in-depth information, and it's pretty crazy. I mean, he's super credible. That's the sad and scary part, is that he's an extremely credible person. Right. I wish he was lying about the things he talks about, but
is he quite well known over there then? Because we'd never heard of him until like a couple of weeks ago when we booked him.
He's well known in this community, I guess.
Well, we listened to a podcast called Mysterious Universe. I don't know if you guys have heard of that one. Yeah. And they covered his book. So we bought his book and read it. And he's a former prosecuting attorney. He was in the United States Air Force. He's a credible dude. And he waited until the end of his career to write this book because he didn't want to be discredited. Right. And it's an insane encounter. And the way he writes is pretty, he's not trying to be like pompous, or he makes it easy to, read and listen to and understand as a normal person. And he talks like that too, for being like an older gentleman. He's pretty fucking funny. Right. He doesn't act like an old dude where you have to like hold things back or anything. He's
really you guys will have fun with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Get your mind off the COVIDs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been a lot of talk in our sort of community about, over the last, I would say, 2 years maybe, about this concept of soft disclosure, and that these things are being sort of spoon-fed to us, drip-fed, over a long period of time. You're not buying that?
I think it's kind of happening, but I don't really care. Any of the stuff that they're, quote, disclosing are things that we've already heard about for decades. We've heard stories all the way back from the 40s and 50s that kind of match up with anything they're going to tell us. It's more of like an acknowledgement now. It's not like they're telling us anything new. They're just like, oh yeah, by the way, that's actually been happening. We know we've been denying it for 50 years, but yeah, it's been happening.
But we told you now. I think they're going to be like, no, we told you guys. Like when the alien invasion happens and we're all like, oh my God. I'm not saying that will happen.
But that nobody gives a shit.
No, we told you guys. We told you.
Like nobody cares about it. They're like, oh yeah, aliens, okay, whatever. I got to wear my mask.
I don't think they'll care.
I mean, it gives it sort of a layer of I don't know if credibility is the right word, but when it's coming from a government source or from the Air Force or whatever, rather than another sort of anecdotal source, it does give it sort of a layer of credibility. I guess that's what they're getting at with this soft disclosure argument, isn't it?
It's like confirmed suspicions. Like we've been alleging all this stuff for so long, and then they finally come along and acknowledge it. It's like, that is kind of cool, because it's like, okay, we're not completely crazy. That's awesome. But
they're not identifying that it's off planet either. They're just saying that it's an unidentified flying object. They're not really saying that it came from somewhere else. They're just saying they don't know what it is. UAPs. Yeah.
Yeah, so you don't think the Stargate's going to open anytime soon and the mothership's going to come through? And
no.
I don't know if it does. It might be the Project Bluebeam idea, though, you know, the fake. I don't even. We've talked about this a million times, too, but I wouldn't believe anything unless I actually got sucked up into their ship or something. But then, even then, you probably wouldn't remember it from what I've heard. So.
Right.
Oh, you just have a sore arse when you wake up, I think.
Yeah. Don't worry, it's just a COVID test. You're thought, negative, by the way.
You know, when that the other week,
you don't have COVID.
When that story came out about anal swabbing, I thought that was like The Onion or something. I thought that was satire. It turns out that
I did too until I saw more articles. I'm like, oh, they were serious. Holy shit.
Yeah, I didn't look into it, but he said that was real, and I was like, that's not real. And he's like, no, it is. Oh, Jesus. Okay.
I think it's just in China.
We're joking.
It's just in Klaus anal swab.
So no, the anal swab's a real thing.
Yeah, they're starting in China. They're starting in China, and then, you know, like everything else, we'll just copy the Chinese like we have done since last March.
Yeah, new low for COVID, the anal swab.
Yeah.
Like literally new low.
Next is tyranny. Wheat.
Well, we're coming up on an hour here, guys. So we'll let you go. I know it's later over there.
It's all right.
We're at let's see, 1 o'clock here.
Yeah.
1 o'clock.
What you guys got planned? What are you doing in the future? More of the same.
More of the same, yeah. Maybe we'll get back to you guys. We just kind of touched on Klaus Anal Schwab and the Great Reset. Awesome. Maybe we can talk some more Great Reset next time. There's plenty to talk about in that. It's terrifying, and that guy should be hung as well, in my opinion.
I've just read a brilliant article on Klaus Schwab and his family history from someone who Whitney Webb knows, posted it in this Telegram group. And so I can't remember the name of the guy who wrote it, but I'll put it in the show notes. Because it's fascinating, going back to World War I and his involvement with Swiss engineering and the company his dad worked for, building flamethrowers for the Nazis and stuff. It's wild. Oh, yeah. It's wild.
Not surprising.
Yeah, I'll put it in.
Insane.
If I remember, I'll put it in the show notes.
Thanks, guys.
Sure.
Nice
to have you on again too. That was fun. Yeah, you too.
Yeah, good
nice to meet you guys too. Thanks for shooting the shit with us. I feel like we weren't really stuck on any particular topic.
This is how our show goes. We just bullshit and then go. Thanks. Nice to meet you.
Yeah,
nice to meet you guys.
It's been fun. Good to meet you. And we'll be posting it up tomorrow. So yeah, check it out. Check out the episode. Everyone who's listening.
Yeah.
All right. For sure.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
Have a good one.
All right, bye, guys.
Stay safe. Build back better.
Yeah.
All right. We're back.
The dwarf, the cripple, and the mother of madness.
That was our little Swapcast. That was quite fun, wasn't it? Talks about a lot of different...
Good guys.
Yeah. So we've got a lot of guests in common, haven't we?
Yeah,
Charlie Robinson and Grimerica boys, and
I think we need to dive a bit further into Jen's theory around the president and who's controlling the government. I think that might be quite interesting.
Who is pulling the strings?
Yeah, next time.
Yeah, I don't know if it was Joe Rogan when I used to listen to him, but it might have been Eddie Bravo who said, like, when you get elected president, you get walked into a room and sat down, and then they roll you the footage of JFK getting shot, and then just say, "Any questions?"
Do you ever think that you walk into a room, sit down, and then a door opens from the other side of the room, and then you enter, and then you're shot, and then your replacement goes out and becomes the president? I don't know if that's a film plot, but if it isn't,
yes,
I'm having it.
Isn't that what happened in Face Off?
Oh, was it? Oh, right. Sorry, take it back.
Well, no, they swapped faces.
Edit that out.
They didn't murder each other until the end.
What, Matt? You're muttering to yourself. What are you talking about?
I was just correcting your film trivia, you idiots.
Muttering dissent.
Yeah. Hey, don't make me
execute order 69, dudes!
On your ass.
I can't think of anything worse.
No? Okay. All right.
Everything's under control. Situation normal.
Right, should we do some housekeeping?
It's time.
Housekeeping. Housekeeping.
Housekeeping. I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Indeed. This is a value for value podcast. If you find this podcast valuable, consider returning some value. There's loads of ways of doing it. Buy some fucking merch, for fuck's sake. From the Amish loot chest, link in the description.
Yeah, drop us a review. Again. Oh, look, yeah, there's some merch right there.
What review?
You could drop us a review on a channel on which we are on.
Yeah, iTunes ones would be good.
iTunes.
Fuck's sake, it's like pulling teeth with you sometimes.
Yeah, they're the best ones, the iTunes ones, the greatest value to us.
It seems to be, but who the fuck listens on iTunes anymore?
I know, yeah.
It's what is it, like 8% or something of our downloads? I mean, it's you know, it's nothing.
Not a lot.
Hello to our Indian friends.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably should have learned what hello is in that one of the languages.
Yeah.
Namaste.
I don't know. We'll come back to that. We should have an Indian guest on.
We should. Yeah, there are no adverts, no corporate sponsorships, no paywalls. It's all free. If you find it valuable, please consider returning some value. This shit costs money, and we need your support. It doesn't have to be monetary. There are loads of ways. Leaving reviews, subscribe to the YouTube channel, send us memes for Instagram, send us interesting news articles, video clips.
Artwork.
Artwork, yeah. We could literally have different episode artwork for each episode. What are the requirements for the artwork? I've forgotten now.
2,000 by 2,000 square. Basically, if it's square, we can sort it. We can fix it.
3,000
10 pixels.
Between 1,400 squared pixels and 3,000 squared pixels. 3,000 would be preferred. They are the requirements for iTunes. So, and what they say goes, don't they? So, yeah, you can send us artwork, memes for Insta. We've done the merch store, haven't we? Link in the description if you want to buy. Look what Amish Matt's modelling.
Literally a communist hoodie. I think it's a college hoodie.
Yeah. Anyway,
very nice.
Always, like tosses a fucking coin.
Oh my god, I'm delaying. Delay that order.
It's a coin to your witcher, oh valley of plenty, oh valley of plenty. Oh,
I think you're hitting the point, Phil. That
great.
It really bothers me.
Because I'm literally a communist. Because I'm literally a communist.
Oh, the old double tap on a shark car.
Shaky hands, man.
Yeah, I was panicking then. I was on the wrong page. But yeah, if you go to thearmisinquisition.com, you will see a tab there, how do I become a producer? Or you will also see a PayPal button, and you can give a monthly donation or a one-off. We might be able to accept crypto soon. Not sure.
Yeah, do it now if you want. We could put it in the show notes.
Yes, more research, I think.
All right.
I don't know. It's got to be whatever's the easiest way that people transfer crypto, Bitcoin.
Oh, nothing's easy in crypto. It's an absolute pain in the parts.
Yeah. All right. Better thank the producers then for episode 172. Short list this week. Nomae, NosNoj, Kathulu, Taint, Anonymous, and everyone who bought merch this week. Thank you so much. You're so amazing. In your love.
They are.
Yeah.
So amazing in their love.
I've been coming to terms with the fact that I am
chest feeding. Fucking vegan.
And it really bothers me.
The dwarf, the
currant,
the grape, the
homophobe, the wind,
the Tossilizu mab,
the fucking vegan,
the lion dog faced pony soldier, the
Asna!
liar!
The
cunts!
The number 11.
The
Special deposits.
The blind man. The
Communists.
On the horizon.
The cripple and the mother.
Money Pickering!
From
like a judgment day and terminating mode, like.
Yes!
I don't get it, and never will.
Read the standing orders. Read them and understand them.
Yep, thanks for your wonderful support again for another episode. It's much appreciated.
I'm just loving that synth at the end.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
All right, we're moving on.
Yeah.
New COVID mix.
COVID-19 news.
If you let it rip, they would get infected very rapidly and soon be filling up your hospitals and unfortunately your morgues.
Vaccination is going to be, in the end, your route to liberty.
I wish we could vaccinate against stupidity.
Tosilizumab, mum.
In the same ballpark as seasonal influenza.
From hell.
The magic vaccine, it's not going to allow us to go completely back to normal.
Because we've been bored and we want to have fun.
Read the standing orders. Read them and understand them.
Oh, not too much COVID news to go through. It's been a good week for Anthony Fauci, who we mentioned earlier, didn't we?
Why is it? Yeah.
Why? Because of this.
Officials with the Israel-based Dan David Foundation says Fauci received the recognition.
Oh, hang on. Why has it done that again? It's paused it for some reason. Stop, you bastard.
After a lifetime of achievements in the field of medicine. They mention his work on HIV research and AIDS relief, as well as his advocacy for COVID-19 vaccines. The 80-year-old has served 7 presidents and has been the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases since 1984.
$1 million prize he got.
Is he 80?
Yeah.
Fuck.
That's a nice side screw, isn't it? £1 million.
What did he win? Was it something to do with Israel?
Hang on, let's try again.
Dr. Anthony Fauci won a $1 million award for, quote, defending science during the coronavirus pandemic, earning him the Dan David Prize. Officials with the Israel-based Dan David Foundation says Fauci received the recognition after a lifetime of achievements in the field of medicine. They mention his work on HIV research and AIDS relief, as well as his advocacy for COVID-19 vaccines. The 80-year-old has served 7 presidents and has been the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases since 1984.
Yeah,
doing all right for 80, isn't he?
Yeah, I think is he chief medical advisor to the president? I think that's his new role. Now he's left the NIH.
Right.
But yeah, £1 million for defending the science. Here's an example.
Do you not think that he's a millionaire already?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, big, small change.
Yeah. Here's an example of him defending the science.
Right now in the United States, people should not be walking around with masks.
You're sure of it? Because people are listening really closely to this.
Right now, people should not be walking. There's no reason to be walking around with a mask. When you're in the middle of an outbreak, wearing a mask might make people feel a little bit better, and it might even block a droplet. But it's not providing the perfect protection that people think that it is. And often, there are unintended consequences. People keep fiddling with the mask and they keep touching their face.
Sounds pretty obvious common sense, that, doesn't it?
Yeah, I remember that being said by him and others.
Yeah, Jenny Harris, who's the Deputy Chief Medical Officer, I think. She made a similar...
Pretty sure that our government said it as well at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
when there definitely wasn't a conspiracy to stop everybody panic buying face masks.
And we got from there to here's Anthony Fauci a couple of weeks ago.
It's becoming increasingly popular amongst leaders in the US. Double masking has been seen everywhere from the floor of the Senate to government press briefings.
Am I clear?
Okay, I think I'm wearing a double mask. That's why. Sorry.
Even the president has done it. And now the United States' top health advisor is recommending more people take up the practice.
There's nothing wrong with people wearing 2 masks. I often myself wear 2 masks.
Yeah,
funny.
Maybe that stops 2 droplets.
The BBC have jumped on the mask bandwagon as well. But I don't know what I've done with the clip.
Dead air.
It's bad, isn't it? What do you do when you've got a beard? These masks don't fit at the best of times.
Need a snood.
Well, I've got a thing, like a scarf or whatever.
It gets in the mask as well. You end up chewing on your own beard.
Oh no, you dirty bastards.
Yeah, it's grim.
That happens.
But fuck us beardies. The BBC's on the bandwagon now.
All over the world, people are now covering their faces in a million different ways. There's a lot of choice about what type to wear. And in some countries, the advice is changing as we learn more about how the virus spreads. So what are the options? Well, a homemade face covering is the simplest and cheapest, and it was promoted in 2020 because of worries about shortages of professional masks that medics desperately needed.
This one, it's made from an old T-shirt. It's got 3 layers, so should do a reasonable job of stopping any virus that...
So fucking tepid, isn't it, the BBC? Yeah. Oh, God, this reporting, it makes me... wretch.
All over the world, people are now covering their faces in a million different ways.
What's wrong with this fucking thing
tonight? There's a lot of
choice
about what type to wear. And in some countries, the advice is changing as we learn more about how the virus spreads. So what are the options? Well, a homemade face covering is the simplest and cheapest, and it was promoted in 2020 because of worries about shortages of professional masks that medics desperately needed.
This one, it's made from an old T-shirt. It's got 3 layers, so should do a reasonable job of stopping any virus that I might release, which really matters because up to 1 in 3 people may be infected without even realising.
To make it more effective, there's the idea of doubling up with 2 coverings, one on top of the other, because that gives you more layers to stop the virus getting through. We saw a lot of these double masks on Inauguration Day in Washington. They're now recommended by the US government, but the advice is to make sure you can still breathe easily.
You mentioned the government's scientific advice regarding face masks. I've got a clip from evidence that Patrick Vallance gave to the Parliamentary Select Committee back in the early days last year.
Our advice on face masks was in April. And we said face masks are of marginal positive value when used in enclosed spaces where crowding may occur and you can't keep 2 meters distance.
The key word there is marginal.
Mm-hmm. Which is what the research says, isn't it? In fact, no, they said...
This is before the Danish study came out.
Right, okay.
Doesn't protect the wearer. How does it protect the wearer and not someone else? They must just work one way, yeah? You just stop it going out and don't stop it coming in.
It's because there's not enough studies, is there?
Well, there's been 40 years of studies.
Is it?
Yeah. And that's why they've never been recommended before, because there was no evidence.
Okay.
There was one done since, I think, bird flu in Asia. And they showed it can make it worse.
Is the one in Thailand or something, and the one and the Danish one, basically.
But no, we've strapped one on a machine, and the machine has less droplets coming out. Therefore, everyone should wear them, because that's what we are, biological robots that don't fuck with the faces.
Have you been reading The Selfish Gene, Phil? That's
it's on my list. I've got it on shelf. I've never read it. It probably just made me angry.
I think you'd like it. It's good.
I think it's a bit of an ideologue, Dawkins, to be honest. But you know,
yeah, I can see that.
He definitely is, isn't he?
He's one of the new atheists, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. If you go into his other works, like the God Delusion.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Got some worrying news from the BMJ, the British Medical Journal, this week. I've got a clip from Mallen Baker's YouTube channel, previous guest. He can fill us in.
Dr. Mallen.
Dr. Mallen.
The British Medical Journal reported that experts are demanding an urgent inquiry into why alcohol-related deaths hit record numbers in the first 9 months of 2020. I'm going to go out on a limb and suggest that they're not going to have to press gang only geniuses onto that inquiry.
That's worrying, isn't it? Alcohol-related deaths seem to have spiked last year.
Yeah. That's what people do, isn't it?
But the pubs are closed.
Yeah, that makes it even worse.
What do you mean? That's what people do.
When you get sad, you get smashed, don't you? Because we're British.
People turn to alcohol.
Yeah, it's self-medicating, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know any.
Yeah, well, yeah, some people do. And I think I've spoken to people who are alcoholics or were alcoholics, whatever they call themselves. And a lot of them said in the first lockdown, they just like properly relapsed, basically.
Fuck. Right. The worrying thing is that there's been no cost-benefit analysis done before this line of reasoning was embarked upon.
Yes, that's what the CEO of Leon, which is a chain I've never heard of, has said, isn't it?
What's that?
Do good breakfasts at Leon.
I never heard of it before. But basically that's what he said. He said, like, any company, he wouldn't launch a chicken wrap without doing a cost-benefit analysis. So why have the government not done that with a lockdown?
Yeah, political pressure, wasn't it? From, well, in our case, it was from the rest of Europe.
Yeah, our neighbours, yes.
To lockdown. Yeah, no scientific basis for it. WHO guidelines up to October 2019. Do not lock down. Do not quarantine infected people. And we just threw all that out the window. For some reason, some strange reason. I wonder why. Anyway, moving on. Sticking with Mallen. He's been looking into a recent report from Tony Blair's Institute.
Oh, God.
She's always good for a laugh.
The former Prime Minister Tony Blair's Institute just released a report saying that the complete lifting of restrictions may not be safe until there are no known cases of coronavirus in Britain.
I'll pause it there.
Zero COVID policy.
Absolute zero.
Oh, for God's sake.
His think tank is putting forth. That doesn't seem... Well, what's the false positive rate? Even if it's 1%, you cannot have zero COVID.
Unless you stop testing. The only way to have zero COVID is zero testing.
And how likely is that?
I don't know.
It's not happening, is it? It's not that happening any time in the next 12 months.
Oh,
zero
no, not
testing.
Not that quickly. They'll have to do something.
Let's continue with the Tony Blair Institute.
It says that even then, society must remain poised for rapid reimposition of local restrictions, mass testing, and you guessed it, vaccine passports. A rapid lifting of restrictions, according to the Blair report, would risk a rise in hospital admissions, increase the chance of more virus mutations, and would actually harm, not help, the economy. And it concluded like this. Once the vaccination rollout is complete, the degree to which life will be able to return to normal is very sensitive to the proportion of the population covered and the effectiveness of the vaccines in preventing transmission. While there are positive signs, it is far from clear it will be possible to remove all restrictions without having in place a comprehensive containment infrastructure involving digital health credentials, better incentives for self-isolation and widespread availability of rapid testing. Tony Blair himself added, the arguments against it really don't add up.
What they're advocating is it like a constant state of readiness for the next state. So you have all this infrastructure in place ready. Test and trace, mass testing constantly, travel restrictions. You have all your government agencies ready to impose the next lockdown at a moment's notice. That's the world that they think we should be moving into.
It's nice to be prepared, but I think I know what you're getting at, that it could be abused, that level of power. Do you remember the furore over the ID cards about 10 years ago?
David Blunkett.
It's like a while at the beginning of the century, wasn't it? That, I think.
If we'd have had them, would it not be now they'd be just adding that to your database for all the information you've got on?
Things have changed since, what's that? That was, I would say that would be about 99, maybe 2000?
Blimey,
maybe
yeah,
20 years ago. I think it was Rommel, or one of the other German generals in the Second World War, said that the British were lions led by donkeys. And we've turned into a nation of cooks run by a fucking clown. And people will just roll over and take it. They'll take the anal Schwab. I don't know, I think it's quite disturbing the way things are going. You think life's going back to normal? Fucking wake up. It isn't.
Tell you what, it was weird on that going back to normal. Last night we watched what was it? It might have been the night before. It was like a rerun of some chat show, and Boris Johnson was on before he was Prime Minister, and James Corden. It was I can't remember the guy's
Have I got
name.
news for you?
No. It was a chat show, and they were sat on the sofa, and they were so close together, it looked uncomfortable. I thought, and this is the first time where I thought, well, this is weird. I've now been conditioned to think that is odd. That is very odd that they are so close together, and then shaking hands and touching each other jovially. I thought that is odd. It's going to look really weird if and when it goes back to quote unquote normal and people are sitting like close together on breakfast TV or whatever. It's going to look very strange.
It depends how you've been living in the meantime. I mean, I said last week that I was on a work site the other day and there was 4 tradesmen, no social distancing, no masks, everything was normal. And same with the customers, they weren't asked. So it depends how what's the word? Not distended. How removed.
Distended.
It depends how removed you've been from what the old normal was, how jarring that will be. And plus, I don't consume any media, so any TV, I would say. So I'm not seeing this stuff on chat shows. I don't watch Graham Norton or fucking out like that. I remember seeing one shortly after the lockdown, and it was done on Zoom or something, and it was just horrific, with no audience,
Yeah, that does look weird. They have like a big sort of virtual video wall on a lot of things. What else was on last night? Anton Deck's Saturday Night Takeaway. They just had a big virtual Zoom audience.
Right, it's like if you watch Question Time now, which I've given up on. But they've got like a big screen with maybe a dozen or 18 people who are the representative audience.
Mm.
And it's garbage. Oh, it was garbage anyway. But it's worse than garbage now. Yeah.
Well, it's definitely strange.
It is weird. I've got a clip from No Agenda. I've stolen from No Agenda that I need to play for you.
Okay.
Ben, you said last week when we were talking about vaccines, you said, when does this stop being about health and start being stop being about selling vaccines or something? Where's that line between? And I've got this clip from is it Fauci? No, it's Bill Gates. Bill Gates did a 60 Minutes.
Dr. Bill,
yeah. He did a 60 Minutes interview, which is like an institution in the States. It's like a CBS. Yeah, CBS thing. It's been going for decades. But now they have 60 Minutes overtime. So I think they put this on like the web or something, or their website or whatever, and they do a bit extra. Whatever didn't make the cut for the first 60 minutes. And there was this promo, this like teaser trailer for Bill Gates' appearance on 60 Minutes overtime. And it pretty much sums everything up for you.
Bill Gates' advice on how to combat mistrust in science at 60minutesovertime.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
You not get it?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah. So Pfizer pay for the show that gets Bill Gates on to tell us about the vaccines.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it works.
That happens all the time. That's in America. I'm probably here, but Is it less insidious?
Maybe it's just less
More
in.
insidious.
I think it's less in your face. I think it probably just happens in smoke-filled back rooms.
Well, the thing this week, wasn't it, was about... I saw a meme about it, actually. Matt Hancock's been found, hasn't he? A judge has ruled that it was illegal how he handed out his contracts, or he's done something wrong anyway. And all the reporting this week is about Harry and Meghan, isn't it?
Now,
rather than him.
I've not looked into this story in great detail, but from what I've gathered, when they do these deals, procurement deals, they have to release the contracts or the details of the contracts within 30 days.
Yeah.
And the average time was 47 days. So he's broke for the contracts that he's signed to be coming out on an average 47 days. So he's over time. Mm-hmm. From what I read, and this is not the be-all and end-all, but it wasn't implying that there was some sort of insider trading, that it was a, not policy, procedural error in that it wasn't releasing these details soon enough. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you break the rules, you break the rules. I still think there's probably lots of inside dealings going. I don't trust Hancock, Mancock, or any of them. I'm sure they're trying to line their own pockets. But I didn't get that from the article, but it was only one article I read, so who knows?
Like we were talking about earlier, it's corruption. Power and corruption go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Seem to.
Absolute power corrupts, absolutely. Who said that? Mr. Bean.
Something to do with the sacking of Carthage, I think.
Yeah, probably. I saw something in the news. Have you seen about this human challenge trial?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's. I was going to sign up, but I'm too old. I'm probably in the at-risk category.
How's it? What's all this about?
$4,000 to get sprayed with COVID and stay in a hospital for
18 to
10
30.
days.
You're too old as well.
Can you request to be in the control group as well?
I don't doubt it.
If it's a
blinded,
randomised
is it?
controlled trial, it'd be double blind.
So you have a 50-50 chance of getting the vaccine or not.
Is it not 3? So, no, yeah.
What?
I don't know. Is it not a control with and without or something like that?
Well, it's not the vaccine, is it? Or is it? Oh, yeah, it'd be double, won't it?
So there'll be a
1,
control
2.
group, I guess, and then people getting infected and people who aren't getting infected. So some people will be sprayed with water or something, won't they? Or however they do it. And then people will be getting it for reals.
I don't know if they'd be able to pass. There's like one arm would be no vaccine and infected. I'm not sure that would pass the ethics board.
Oh, I thought that was the whole point.
Yeah.
That's why it's controversial.
You would have...
It's a human challenge trial.
Yeah, I don't think it's as clear cut as that. I don't know. I'll look into it. I'll find out for the next time.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
No, you got to do the Hollywood version. Don't write checks your butt can't cash.
Well, I was going to say that, but I stumbled over my words and gave up.
Oh dear! Did you see Bojo the clown trying to put on a surgical glove this week?
No.
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 Oh, I've got a clip. So bad. There's a lot of noise in that. Did you hear him say, "Ooh, alas"? It's like O.J. Simpson.
Alas.
Trying to put the glove on.
Who says alas?
Classically educated, isn't he?
Yeah, for fuck's
was his degree in
It's,
classics?
Is he not just one of the normal? What is the degree you do at Oxford? Economics, philosophy, and something. Is it certain? Possibly, I don't know.
Bumming?
I don't know. And that's the degree, isn't it? I think he's done that. What? Do you want me to have a Google him quickly?
Do a live fact check.
Yeah.
I've got an addendum, actually. I had an addendum. We talked about Indo-European languages.
Yeah.
And I had something in the back of my head somewhere that there was some place in Europe that had a language that didn't come from the Indo-European tree. And apparently it's Hungarian.
Oh, right.
Yeah. It's a factoid. And there are some other dialects in and around it. I think Eastern Europe mainly that are sort of don't come from that main Indo-European heritage. It's weird though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Language.
Aliens.
There was a film a few years ago about aliens. I think it had Jeremy Renner in it, and that was related to language. These big things.
That was Arrival, it's called. It's quite a good film. I enjoy it.
Wasn't the concept something about the use of language can make you a time traveller?
No, you're mixing that up with Interstellar, I think, which is another fantastic film.
Too long.
But Arrival's definitely in my top.
I enjoyed Arrival. I thought it was quite
Alien
good.
Films.
Denis Villeneuve, I think.
What? Is she in it?
That's who directed it.
Oh.
I think.
Have you seen Passengers?
Yeah, that's the funny guy from Chris.
Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, Chris Pratt.
And Mystique.
Yes. Ooh, it was an X-Men MCU crossover we didn't know about.
Yeah, that's
they've come back, haven't they? They've got X-Men back now.
Yeah, WandaVision is starting to. There's been a few.
Spoiler alert!
But there's been a few interesting things.
You were right about Bojo, Phil. He did study the classics, ancient literature, and classical philosophy.
Yeah, I was pretty certain he did classics. I saw a debate once he did with Mary Beard, who was better, the Greeks or the Romans.
What did he go for?
He was Greece.
Okay.
And Mary Beard was Rome.
Mm-hmm.
And he went down the democracy route. You know, founders of democracy and all that. He lost the debate. You know, because Mary Beard is a fucking professor of classics.
Exactly, yeah.
And a fine author. Oh, I'd love to have Mary Beard on. Yeah, I think the last one I read by her was SPQR, which came out, I want to say, about 3 years ago, maybe.
Right, okay.
So, in fact, the book I'm reading now has a section. I'm reading a book about world mythology at the minute. And each, it's sort of going across the world. So it started with, I don't know, Australia or whatever, and then it went to Greece, and then to Rome, and North America, Eastern Europe, and each section, if you like, is written by a specialist in that area. So I'm guessing Mary Beard must have written the Roman section of the book. It's cool. A lot of commonalities between different myths from all over the world, and sort of universal truisms encoded with them. And some wild shit. You know, I've just finished about the Norse, you know, Thor and Odin and stuff. It's all right. It doesn't go into any great detail because it's covering all mythology across the world. It's not like there was a page on Thor or whatever, a page on Odin. But
I could taste them. You could have whole libraries on Norse mythology and
exactly, yeah.
Mythology.
There is a chap on my radar, a Norse mythology expert who I've messaged but not had a reply yet. So I might try a different means of communicating.
Send him news.
Turn up at his door.
But yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Have you tried runes?
Well, yeah, Odin. Odin was well into runes. That was part of his shtick.
Yeah,
One Eye, the Allfather.
Interesting. Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, I'm working on my Norse beard.
Yeah, it's coming on, isn't it?
Yeah, I've not trimmed it or anything. Only my tash.
Yeah,
otherwise, it goes in your mouth, you see, and you end up chewing it.
Yeah, have you ever tried eating a sandwich?
Yeah, it's a mess.
You need new skill set.
What's the point? Has your wife actually noticed you've grown a beard yet?
Yeah, she's commented.
Oh, at last. How long did it take?
Just a couple of months. She said, who did she say I reminded her of? Tom Hardy.
She blind. Has she gone blind in this 2-month period?
You look like
Laurel and Hardy.
Said you look like Tom Hardy. I went, all right, do I? She went, yeah, when he was in Peaky Blinders.
Is that when he was a destitute, bearded street folk?
He plays
like Bins.
He plays Solomon in Peaky Blinders.
Solomon, yeah.
He's like a Jewish crime lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good in that.
He's good in everything, Tom Hardy, to be honest. He's just got magnetic animal magnetism. He's just got charisma in fucking buckets, hasn't he?
Yeah, but that's why
I had that problem.
You can't be reminding her of him.
Yeah, because I said, like, I'm a good 6 inches taller than him, so can't be him.
Exactly, yeah. He's a normal height. He's 1 inch smaller than me.
Normal height in Victorian times. Yeah. What have you been watching on TV?
Nothing. Oh, yes, I've been watching some truly trash television.
Oh, what's that?
Something called Married at First Sight.
Oh my god!
It's been lighting up social media.
God, what's the premise?
People get married at first sight.
What, just for a crack?
For what? Sorry,
just for crack.
Well, the premise is there is a panel of experts, and you do a lot of psychometric tests.
We don't trust experts.
Exactly, that's what Gove says, and you get married basically. But in the Australian one, there's some kind of law which prevents people actually getting married. On the other versions of it, people did get married. So like the version in the UK and elsewhere, the people actually got married legally. They don't in this one. And it's been enthralling, even though it's just absolutely pointless. What people do and how they behave never, I suppose, ceases to amaze me. Once they're on television.
Is there some sort of like common personality flaw or something that makes these people go into this? Why did they do it?
It's all different flaws, so there's a guy, and as it's gone on, it's just become more and more apparent that he's just a narcissist, and he just can't see, not an evil narcissist, just can't see beyond like the end of his nose, basically, and that's probably why he's single and he's in his mid-40s.
Oh, right. So he's not doing it for the fame. He actually has some sort of borderline personality disorder, you think?
Well, no.
No?
It's just, he's just a singleton. He probably just wanted to get famous. He was an electrician, actually.
The gods. Otherwise known as a god. who harnesses the power of electricity.
Mines electricity.
Hardy-esque.
How? Excuse me. Whoa. How, as an electrician, reach the age of 40 without finding an amazing wife and just living life?
It's like a rough enough.
There's so many great memes about electricians on the internet. I can't remember anything.
But the best, so it was that. But there's this woman on it who was called Innes, and she was really odd. But a lot of them who are odd and behave without scruples they allude to a lot of trauma in their childhood. So the Innes one was like a refugee from the Balkans, I think, and moved to Australia, and all that kicked off. There's like another one whose parents were like, a dad at least was an alcoholic and was like rough as fuck. But my favourite one was this socially anxious guy who was a virgin, and he lost his virginity to his wife that he got married to. And
on the show?
Yeah, on the show, yeah. and they didn't show it, obviously, but it was like being sick, having stomach cramps at the thought of having sex with her. And she kept going, why do you just don't want to tear my clothes off? And da-da-da-da-da-da. And anyway, so it came out that basically that she was or used to be a lesbian, was into like swinging, bondage, all kinds of kinky shit. And it just fucking freaked him the fuck out, basically. This is like the day after.
They said they did compatibility tests.
Yeah, this is the thing. This
the
is
experts.
The thing. Yeah, so they said that she didn't mention any of that in her interviews. So they wouldn't have ever matched her with him, basically, if that was the case. And so that was just dead funny. And then basically, they have these dinner parties where they all meet up, and it's just a chance for them to argue with each other. And he was like down one end of the table. He was down with like the lads talking, and I go, how's it going? And she's up the other end, half earwigging what he's saying. He says, yeah, I just don't think I'm physically attracted to her. And she was absolutely devastated, basically. So they went their separate ways. So basically then what happens is like every week or every 2 weeks they have a commitment ceremony, and you have to say without the other partner's knowledge, you write down stay or leave. And if both say leave, you leave the experiment, it's called. And if one says leave and one says stay, you both have to stay, basically.
This is borderline Jeremy Kyle, this, isn't it? Taking people who are sort of like
absolute trash.
Partially, some of them seem like they might have some psychological problems, and then you're exploiting them in an experiment on TV for advertising revenue.
Yes, it's definitely what's happening. But also, these people are aware of what they're doing. I think most of them. And most of them are getting something out of it. So, like, that guy got to lose his virginity and challenge his social phobia on national television and now international television. A lot of the girls and the men as well are obviously on it to boost their social media profile.
Yeah, and then start their own podcast.
I mean, that's how we started, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So are they all middle-aged then?
No, so I think the youngest was a guy called Sam, who was 26.
26?
Yeah, but he was like a part-time model. It was called what did he call him?
Influencer?
No, they're called tradies. Australians call it. Have you not heard that term before, tradie?
Only regarding trades.
I think it means like labourer.
Oh,
like Teamsters in the States.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. So he was the youngest, and basically he got married, and the day of the wedding just disappeared for like 3 days, and claimed that his ex's mum had died, and he went to the funeral
after the ceremony, the wedding ceremony.
Yeah. So that was good, and the person he got married to was a bit nuts.
Professional opinion.
Yeah, she was a bit wacky. Anyway, it's just bizarre, and it just doesn't, And I've got into it, and I'm getting really into it, and sort of like, oh my god, how are these people doing these things on television and stuff? And I think to myself, it's just all nonsense. It just doesn't matter. But I'm getting riled up about it. It's wild.
Yeah, I suppose, are you looking at it from maybe a professional angle to an extent?
I think that with the social phobia guy, definitely initially, and but then it just descended into soap opera. So
it might not be a complete waste of your time.
I think that guy left ages ago, so it has been a waste of my time for about 2 weeks.
Threats.
Have you just been watching The Crown, Ben?
Over and over. No. I've not watched much telly, to be honest. I don't think I've been watching the motorbike show on ITV4.
ITV4? At least mine's on E4.
Well, what have I watched? Nothing of much.
Nothing noteworthy.
The wife is watching Marcella. She says that's very good.
What's that?
That was on a while ago, wasn't
Drama. I think. Well, it's a new series, I think.
Oh, right.
She said that's very good. She watched The Serpent. That was good.
I saw a trailer today for Deutschland 89.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's like the 4th series. It started in 83, I think.
Yeah, 83.
I was completely unaware. I saw the first season like 5 years ago, and it was great, and I didn't know it was still going.
Yeah, it's good.
So I might watch that.
Television, Phil.
Yeah, well, I thought the first season was really interesting, the Cold War stuff. It's like, wasn't he out from the east side and he becomes a double agent or something?
Wasn't he?
Yeah. And does he turn? Does he start to turn? I can't remember. It's years ago, but it was like good TV. That, you might actually learn something and enjoy it.
Well, it's a drama documentary setup.
If you like that thing.
Real life drama. Is it real life drama? Something like that.
It's this offshoot of Channel 4, isn't it? Something Walter presents.
It's like The Crown. It's a drama based on historical events. Yes, it is. I'm having that.
Oh, nonsense.
I watched a documentary on V2 rockets. I've just remembered. That was on yesterday or something weird. That was quite interesting.
So the V2, was that the one the Germans developed?
Yeah. Yeah, they were talking about they had this big kind of dome in the middle of the woods in northern France. It looked really weird, and the premise was like, look at this abandoned kind of building and see what it was. And it was a V2 rocket production line that could actually build the V2s in over a couple of days and just ship them out on these little platforms and then launch them from northern France straight over to London.
Didn't they call them the Doodle Bug?
Was
or is that something else?
That was
earlier.
Had wings, those, didn't they, I think?
Yeah.
I mean, this is the sort of start of the space age, isn't it? Rocket technology.
Yeah, it was the first, like, it's not an ICBM, but it was the first one that went, like, up into the upper atmosphere.
Right.
And then landed.
Landed is putting it mildly.
Yeah. But yeah, they could have, like, decimated London if the Allies hadn't have found it and bombed it to smithereens.
Well, wasn't targeting a problem, though?
Yes.
They had all sorts of problems. I mean, like you say, it was the start of the space age, very early technology. It's the same sort of thing with the Manhattan Project and the atom bomb. It was proper finger in the air stuff, and like, sending people to space a little bit later on. It was all finger in the air. Let's put the biggest rockets on the bottom of things. Let's how can we make this lunar lander super light? Oh, we'll just make it out of tinfoil. That'll be fine. It was wafer thin. The LEM, the actual lander. That's the other thing I've been watching. There was something on the moon landings, and also the Perseverance stuff. The landing on Mars this week, which was. I love all that sort of stuff, so that was fascinating for me.
I think I believe that shit. Do you not listen to David Weiss?
No.
Never a straight answer. What was the Perseverance? What's that? Is that a rover, is it? Is it going to be collecting stuff?
A rover and a helicopter. There's a little drone thing, which is quite interesting.
So,
there's a drone on it.
Would the last lander have been that European one then? On Mars.
The Beagle. That blew up in the atmosphere or something.
I thought it landed and broke.
Yeah, that did, but it didn't. No, it crash landed. The Beagle 2. There's the other rovers out there. Curiosity, I think, or Opportunity. Curiosity, Opportunity. But there's a Pathfinder mission. I think that had a rover back in '96 or something. So, and the Spirit and Opportunity, I think they were rovers, and one of them still knocking about on a different bit of Mars. And then I think the Chinese are landing one next week. And the UAE have just put something into orbit around there as well. So there's a lot, it's getting quite busy over there on the.
What's the main? What's Perseverance meant to be doing?
Searching for life. It's landed in like an old lake bed, so it's going to be drilling down, looking for micro fossils and things. I mean,
there's a
tiny
calcified
drill.
ring, isn't there, or something on this crater?
Let's see a doctor about that. Right. It's a delta. It's a river delta going into this crater that's supposed to be a lake, and then it comes out the other side as well. So it must have been, if they're expecting to find anything with a small drill in the middle of a vast area, teeming with life, as you'd expect for some of the a pond. If you get a cup full of pond water, it's literally buzzing with nonsense on a microscopic level. So it would have to be that level of life for them to ever pick anything out with a little, 6mm drill on the end of an arm, whatever it is. And then later, they're sending something to go down and meet the rover and then come back up and bring samples back. So that'll be quite good.
How on earth will it get back?
Well, I don't know. They're going to land it, and then it'll be a two-stage thing. They'll land it, collect the samples from the rover, and then leave a launch bit and go up into orbit and then back over to Earth.
I'm guessing it's easier to escape Mars's atmosphere than here.
Yeah, the gravity's like 3/8, I think.
Maybe solar powered then. It's probably going to be. It's going to be a fucking long haul, isn't it? Back.
The rovers are solar powered.
No, I mean to get something from Mars back to Earth.
Well, I think once you get going in a vacuum, you just build speed constantly until you don't crash by another body. So it'll take a while. I think it'll take longer to get back than going there because you expend all your fuel. They'll have all kinds of things. I mean, it won't be as mad sort of science fiction or coming into science fact, talking about solar sails or ion engines, things like that, where you're just generating a very tiny amount of thrust over a long period. But it'll be something wacky. And the thing that is important, I suppose, is that they haven't sent them both at the same time. So either the technology is not there yet, or I don't know if they're waiting for the next window, because they usually send these things when Mars is
optimum distance.
Yeah, not in our position, but the other one, perigee and apogee, one of them, where it's closer basically. So it's less fuel, so your rocket can be lighter and more economical.
I think the first time I saw solar sails as a concept might have been Count Dooku's shuttle on Attack of the Clones, the Clone Wars.
Did they use one in Event Horizon?
I don't think I've seen it.
Oh, that's another good one.
It's Solar, the one where they go mad trying to restart the sun.
The Abyss. The Abyss.
No.
What is it?
Something beginning with Sir.
Oh, is it the Clooney one? The Clooney one?
No, that's Solaris, isn't it?
Is it Mission to Mars with Natasha Kinski?
The Core.
What was the film? What was the alien film she was in? Sphere? Was it? There was a sequel. Species.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at Danny Boyle.
Yeah, so that was cool. And then I've got one eye on what Elon's doing with SpaceX. I think SN10 will be launched soon on a test hop after that last one blew up recently, and FCC have just closed the investigation on it.
Do you know what interests me? This shuttle, is it the X-32 or the X-72?
Oh yeah,
it's the one with the mysterious payload.
Yeah, no one knows what's in it, and it goes up and it can circumnavigate the globe and just stay up there for years. That's solar powered, I think, and it's just bonkers. I have no idea what's going on with that.
It keeps breaking.
That's the idea,
doesn't it? It keeps breaking the record, doesn't it, for continuous space flight?
Yeah.
I don't think there's people in it though, is there?
It's a spy thing, that, isn't it?
Well, we don't know. They won't say what the payload is, will they?
It is a spy thing, isn't it?
Well, you would think so.
It's Boeing X, isn't it? X.
Or it's for destroying other satellites. That's the other thing I've heard.
Yeah, this is the concern. Like we were talking about technology with the V2. Being like one step ahead technologically gives you supremacy. It's part of the reason why the Russians wanted World War I to happen, because they were falling behind, and Europe was turning into a powder keg. All the powers knew there was going to be a continent-wide war, and the Russians needed it to happen quick because they were losing pace technologically. That was part of what was going on back there. With I can't remember his name. Gavrilo Princip, wasn't it? Who killed Archduke Franz Ferdinand. 18, I think he was.
Question.
18 or 19.
Sorry.
Oh, no.
No, I'm just going to go back to the satellite thing. There's a China, some general blew up a satellite. And apparently it's obviously a bit of an issue now for the International Space Station. They have to move every so often because there's debris.
Space garbage.
Well, there's that, but there's also because they literally blew up a satellite as a sort of... the guy got into trouble for it, apparently, for doing it, but he's kind of flexing his muscles, this general. It's caused more problems than, than what it should have.
Yeah, space debris is an issue, isn't it, apparently, in all of it? I don't know.
Yeah, well, there's thousands, isn't there, of satellites now? And the sort of thing that Elon's doing, the Starlink, is it called Starlink?
Yeah, that's pretty disturbing.
Like, people are quite concerned about that in terms of...
Astronomers and astronomer associations are coming out and saying, look, this is fucking with us. Yeah. We can't observe the sky and sunspots and shit because we've got all these Starlink things getting in the way.
Dyson sphere.
Yeah, it's the way it's going. Anyway,
it's the X-37 is the spy plane you're on about. Interestingly, the X-34 was a predecessor, but is also the model of land speeder that Luke Skywalker is.
The next rover on Mars is probably going to be called Blue Harvest then.
Yes, definitely. You should put the suggestion in now to NASA.
Or it'll be Rover Rover Face.
Ace.
All right, then. Shall we fuck off into the night? Sign off.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
10 bells on the nose. On the nose. Tight.
10 past 10.
Yeah, too tight for this game. We've got Nathaniel Gillis, I think, next week, haven't we?
Yeah.
Expert demonologist. It's going to be wild.
Wild with the demons.
Yeah, I know nothing about
Necronomicon.
Oh, now that's what's the author? Not Lovejoy. H.P. Lovecraft.
Lovecraft, yeah.
Yeah, I've not read it. Have you read it?
No. I don't have a copy.
Yeah, so we know nothing then. We know nothing about demonology, so we're going to learn something, see what it's all about.
Yeah, man.
It'll be fun.
Should be good.
Yep.
All right. Build back better.
Yeah. Wakanda forever. Praise Javelin.
Epstein didn't kill himself.
Ta-ra.
Chest feeding.
A man and a woman.
You have no authority here, Jackie Weaver.
Vote for Gammons.
I can't have children with the whore.
He's a homophobe and he's a misogynist.
新春快乐，敲杯给大家，拜年了。
Like a judgment day intimidating mode, like